So let's go to the next one, Issachar. And that one is the next verse. Issachar is a strong donkey lying down between two burdens. He saw that rest was good and that the land was pleasant. He bowed his shoulder to bear a burden. There we go. And became a band of slaves. Okay, Issachar is a strong donkey. Okay, we get this because when he was born, Leah said, and God listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a fifth son. And Leah said, God has given me wages because I have gave my servant to my husband. So she called his name Issachar. Issachar means wages. Okay, he's a strong donkey, strong servant. And he's laying down between two burdens, sheepfolds. There you go. There's the two sheepfolds, the two burdens I was talking about in the previous constellation right next to it. And when you look up the translation of this, I think this should say lay down between two burdens. I think it should say resting between two sheepfolds. Because when you, rest is being applied in there in both places. And when you go look up this word, it's mishpat. Mishpatim is burdens, so that's what's being used here in Hebrew. And it gets translated sheepfolds in Judges 5:16. 15 and 16. It says, and the princes of Issachar, which is who we're talking about, were Deborah. As Issachar was so, Barak was sent to the valley under his command among the divisions of Reuben. There were great resolves of heart. Why did you sit among the sheepfolds? That word mishpatim. Okay, to hear the pipings for the flocks and the divisions of Reuben have great searchings of heart. So I believe this word burden can also be translated sheepfolds. And he's between the sheepfolds. Okay, so this is picturing a servant animal resting in a comfortable place between two sheepfolds or burdens. And Christ is a picture of a servant that is dwelling between two sheepfolds, isn't he? Okay, John 10:14-16 tells you this. He has two sheepfolds. And he brings them together. Christ also bore a heavy burden, didn't he? The cross. Okay. So what constellation do you guys think might be associated with Issachar? He is wages. It's I think it's because it has scales. Libra is scales. It's the balance between two places, two burdens, if you will. Wages are typifying judgment. We look at scales and we see that that's judgment, and waking wages, we use scales to balance your wages back then with gold and silver. And sin requires judgment, doesn't it? The wages of sin is death. Okay, I think this is associated with cancer, and that's the scales. This is what it would look like if you saw it in the sky. And it also has plenty of stars named that I'm not going to dissect for us. That'll be something else. And his decans are the cross, the crux, the Southern Cross, underneath the centaur, which is himself, and he's slaying this other animal that looks like it's called a lupus. It's depicted different ways, like a dog or a wolf or something, but what's being shown here in this is that he's offering himself. The centaur has two natures, both God and man, and he's offering himself. That's what that's picturing. And you've got the cross in there too, the Southern Cross. And I don't think that we can see the Southern Cross anymore. I think the earth is tilted enough to where we don't see the Southern Cross until you get further south. So anyway, I believe this is the tribe of Issachar. Guess what his banner is going to be? A donkey.
A donkey.
Yeah.